Hey y'all, I've got a bonus class today that's just gonna be about 15 minutes making some really cute melon drop earrings, which is a project we've done before, but I had an idea to update it because the melon drops are finally back in stock after the last batch totally went bye-bye. So we're gonna make a quick pair of earrings today and let's jump in. Here's what I've got on my plate. If you're watching on replay, super appreciate if you comment, like especially if you're like on YouTube, if you comment on the video and like it, do all the things, it like just really helps the shop out. So these are our lovely melon drops. I try to get into the shop now and then. We picked out a bunch of new colors because they come in such a variety. So these ones were really calling to me, and the idea that a member of the shop had was to offer them with the 5mm fire polish that this design uses. So we came up with some mixed strand packs to go with each strand. So these were usually each pack is possibilities that either each of them could go with or they could be mixed together. I'm thinking this is going to be my actual palette for these earrings. So this is a pretty simple technique. You just need a base wire for the earrings that fits through your melon. So you just want to test that out before you get going. I grabbed 20 and 22 gauge bare copper wire, and I'm going to the thicker the better, basically. The thicker you can use, go for that. Yeah, the 20 gauge, see it has has movement on it, so I'm not worried about the bead breaking or anything under pressure, so we're going to use the 20 gauge. But to prep the earrings, we're going to need to get a bunch of these fire polish onto head pins. Eloise says this is a surprise. I surprised myself a little bit too. But I wanted to make a mock-up pair using one of the new palettes before tonight. I just think it's so much more helpful to see some of the beads in their final stage. So I grabbed some of the tiara cast headbands we have in the shop. We're still working on that restock. I would have had them already, but they don't have them right now. They're doing currently doing a transition to a new supplier for their head pins, and this 24 gauge has not been available yet. So I'm hopeful that they found a great new supplier for them, and I'm hopeful that, and this will be even better, we'll have those again soon because they have really nice quality head pins. But our goal here is just to make a simple loop with each of them. You really want it even closer than that, but it can be tricky because we're not doing wrap loops. I'm actually considering doing wrap loops just because it would get me a little closer. It's hard to just do a 90-degree bend right above that bead because you don't have much leverage. Robin, so Robin said we should make kits. That's that's the direction we were going with these fire polish packs. Is that we're doing the fire polish set separately, so you can snag it if you want to have some things to go with your melons. Here's 3 other combinations we came up with that I'm loving. And so it's a Sam's Bead Shop version of a kit where you can grab all your main beads and have those ready to go, and then you can use whatever findings you like, and eventually we will have more of the findings. You'll be able to pick up German style wire too. That's launching in the shop tonight or tomorrow as well. So we're getting closer and closer to being able to grab all the goodies you need right from the shop for something like this. So I went ahead and switched over to wire wrap loops. It's really not necessary for these earrings, but it will mean they're a bit more secure. And my goal is really I want them to be even. I want the loops to be about the same distance from each bead. Oh yeah, folks, I just showed the palettes. Let me know which is speaking to you. Today it was these like metallic tones, especially these ones, this platinum, gold, bronze. So all I'm doing here is coming in to make wire up loops. And essentially the reason I'm using 5mm is because they fit together really nicely. We did a little experiment the first time we did this design with another size, and we did 6mm, and it didn't work that well. There's something about the amount of space that the 5mm take up that they form a nice row together once we make the clusters. I believe it's 4 per row, so 12 per earring. So these strands are perfect. There's 25 beads to a strand. So as long as you only lose 1 bead, you'll be able to make a pair of earrings per strand. So for a wire up loop, I'll go over the steps with the next one, but they're always my preferred type of loop because they're the most secure. Come on, get my pliers stuck in there. For this design, I was doing simple loops, but I was also, my headphones were softer last time. They were even softer than, this is a 24 gauge, but the ones that I think I've ran out of were like really soft, so I could just bend it over 90 degrees right above the bead. That's simply not possible. With these, like I could try, and I'm sure we could slowly get better, but instead of like picking that battle today, I am just making wire loops. I actually think I'm faster at making a wire up loop than a simple loop, because these, I feel like wire loops makes a lot of sense to me. Simple loops, you have to do a lot more estimation. You have to estimate how much you need to cut for the size of loop you want to make, then make a loop that you enjoy and keeping them consistent. It's just like there's more variables making simple loops, whereas a wrap loop I find easier to standardize making them. I'm curious if folks if anyone feels the same way. Of course, if you're using a thick gauge wire, it doesn't really make sense to use wrap loops. But in this case, especially with thinner gauge wire wrap loops are lovely. We're gonna know our cluster is not going anywhere. If you are less familiar with a wire wrap loop, you want to use a thinner gauge. So this is a 24 gauge. It's a head pin. It's a pre-made head pin, so it's already going to be a little work hardened, meaning it's like a stiffer wire to start from. If you were using just a normal bare copper wire, it's going to be a bit softer to start. I actually did that whole chain last week using German style wire in 24 gauge, and I found it to be easier because it wasn't too soft. I actually had an easier time forming loop after loop, making that chain of the peridot, which I didn't show anyone yet. I put in this that would be a 15-minute earring, but that's the idea here. They're quick earrings. Maybe I just say quick. No, I think I just say quick earrings. It's like, no, I don't need a time cap. These are let me put these here so folks can see the other. These are just a few of them. We have a few more palettes we also did with the melon drops. These melon drops are such a special shape. They have so much movement to them. I love like that carved design you get on the sides of them, and then especially when they apply a wash like this, it brings out that part of the design. I think that's quite pretty. I haven't actually walked through a wrap loop yet, have I? Let's do that. All right, so as I said, thinner gauges for making wire wrap loops. Much, much easier. And I'm coming in, I don't want a huge, this is what determines the shape, the size of the gap above the bead. So I'm just grabbing it right from the tip of my round nose pliers and bending that so it's a nice 90-degree angle, or almost. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then I'm coming in with my pliers on the long side. I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab it close to the tip so that my loops end up being on the smaller side. See that? And bring that wire all the way over. I can't bring it any farther because there's a bead in the way and the tool in the way. So I can at least move the tool out of the way by rotating it up and then bring the wire through. See how it's a little like off kilter? Neela would call that breaking the neck. We can bring it back to the center. And then grab your loop with your flat nose and just bring, these really like to grab the wire. Bring that wire around until you filled that gap up. These are some flush cutters. This is the flush side of them. See how that's a lot flatter than this side? A flush cutter can only make flush cuts from one side. It's engineered to only cut the wire flat on one side. So if I were to reverse the way I did it, I would not end up with a flat end of my wire. It'd be a little bit more pokey. Usually the wire protrudes just a little bit above the bead, so you can come in with some flat nose. And this is a great chance just to tuck your coils together and make it look nice and pretty. All right, let me take a look at the comments while I'm doing this. Miss Jazz, what did you get? Miss Jazz says, I got me some sand beads. Which ones, though? There's so many to choose from these days. Wait! Brooke and Miss Jazz were on the phone. Okay, this is the most special part about this community, is that folks, more so, are really getting to know each other. Like, folks that have stuck around, gotten to know each other. Like, there's some beautiful friendships that have formed in this community. I think it's so special. And I think it really speaks to like the generosity and the kindness and just like the desire for folks just to have fun, connect. We just need a few more. We're at 9, so 3 more, and we'll be able to make the first earring. I probably will just do one today because we do have a whole live sale to put together. Oh, come on, wrap loops. There you go. Hey, Rachel.
Hello, how's it going?
It's good. Working on. I grabbed these champagne-y ones for the melon drops.
Oh, the spacers or the melon drops. Cool.
They're so pretty with that shimmer dust on them.
So nice.
I don't think we've had those before.
Oh yeah?
No, we did like more standard colors in the past. So last time we stacked up this whole earring just on one piece of wire, melon drop, and then the cluster above or below it. But I want these earrings to have a bit more movement this time. So I'm actually going to separate those components out. And I want the melon drop on the bottom. I think that's what I liked the best for the other ones. But you can reverse it. But have the melon drop on the bottom so that it can like have a little bit more freedom on its own. I thought the original pair was nice, but it always felt like a little stiff to me. It didn't like have quite the personality that I thought it could have taken on. So this is like take 2 of the melon drop earrings. Alrighty, we've come to number 12. Is anyone creating today? Doing something fun? Something extra fun? Enjoying the sunshine? It's finally cooled off a little bit here. We had that like 95-degree day in the bay, which is a lot for us without AC everywhere. Like not every store has AC in the bay. Alrighty, they're not all perfect loops, but in a cluster, you don't actually end up seeing the loops too much. So it actually will end up being fine. As long as they're pretty even in size, it'll end up looking pretty nice. We're gonna come in and start with the bottom. We'll start with for the melon drops. So I just really don't need that much wire to do this. I'm gonna get it warmed up a bit. Running my fingers through it also helps to straighten it out. And I'll just start on this end that's the straightest here and give that a nice flush cut so that it's not too pokey, because we're doing a knotted head pin. Unless I want to change my mind, because we were going for quick earrings today. There's no reason we couldn't do it this way. Okay, we're not doing that. Not today. Haha. We're gonna do a wire wrap loop on our melon. Just to save, we like wire wrap loop would be gorgeous, but it's also not necessary here. You can keep the focus on the beads, the cluster we're about to make. But you can either use, we're gonna use our 20 gauge for the middle section now. It's a little thicker than the head pins, but it's not really usually that noticeable when you mix up wire gauges. So I'm gonna do a wire wrap loop at the top and bottom of this next section of the earrings. While I'm remembering, I might as well go ahead and attach my melon drop. Sorry to have folks retract the knotted head pin alert. Alrighty, I just need, how many wraps do I want to do? This is where, folks, you can have a little bit more freedom. Is how many wraps you do for your wire wrap loops. It doesn't have to be like the standard 2 or 3. There's no reason you can't do 5, 10. It's actually a way to add a little touch to your pieces that can be quite recognizable. And add some length if that's something you're wanting. All right, so we've got wire wrap loop. I'm gonna tuck in that wire just a little bit more. And then to keep that cluster looking nice, it's helpful to have a bead on the bottom and top. I used a metal spacer last time I did this design. I want to experiment with some of my favorite saucers here. So put one. I don't know if these will be compatible fully, but it actually looks like it'll work. See how they come just past the bead there? So I told some folks we did like a Zoom yesterday. We do them a couple times a month for our pro members of Sam's Bead Shop. It's very easy to become a pro member. If you unlock a bulk discount code, which is the ones that get you 5 to 10% off your orders, you're considered a pro member. It means you're a regular. And we do a couple Zooms a month. One's a social, and then one is like basically like a mini live sale on Zoom, where I show kind of some unique type items. And I was telling folks, I had to head off the Zoom last night because I was hosting a little get together with some of my friends. Let's see here. That's where we're at currently. Do you think the last pair that we did of these had more beads? Anyone? 12 is the number I had in my head. So you could stop there. If you want your cluster to be larger, I think I'm actually going to stop because that's 2 full rows. This looks like what it became. It also is a little different because of the wire wrap loops, which each are taking up a little bit more room in there and possibly affecting the layout. But that is all good. I put another one of my spacers on top. And just kind of get it to lay how you like, because we're going to make this loop pretty tight to keep everything secure. And we'll end with a wrapped loop as well. Alright, let's see here. Okay, doesn't look like I need to do another loop, another wrap. So something like that should work. I'm super curious if the change here is because of the wrap loops, or if I did a different number of beads, or if I changed the size on myself without noticing it. But it still does the same. It all does a variation of the cluster effect. So you do, regardless, it's the same technique. And I like this time with the melon drop hanging. I think it adds a little bit more of the cha-cha, and it gets a little bit more light flash going for it. So there is a design idea for today. I really like this combo of the gold with these bronzy spacers and the new melon drops. But I think there's lots of great combos here. Our idea for the blue, these are the 3 ideas we have for them. I'm really drawn to this silver combination for nice summery sparkly ones. We got some tones for the green ones. It's a nice contrast. And then gotta have some black and white. And like with the gold, wouldn't that be gorgeous? So there's a little inspiration for today. If you're wanting to snag any of these melon drops, definitely make sure to pop on by our live sale tonight, because we are showing at least 6 colors of melon drops, each with some ideas for fire polish to go with them. And hey, Shira. So definitely come on over if you are liking some of these goodies and want to try out this design. Everyone, and you can also make this. There's no reason you can't use the same technique with other beads as well. So if you're wanting to go, if you're got a little creative itch from this, which is awesome, go and find a bead that could be any type of bead. And then pretty much any type of small bead will work here. These are 5mm fire polish. Alrighty, folks. Thanks for watching. And if you're watching on replay, don't forget to like, comment, do all the things. I really, really appreciate it. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in a few hours.